I told you once already. You ever breathe a word about that night and I'll make sure you regret it. Understand?
I won't. I swear,
Good.
please.
Remember that. Keep quiet, and this stays our secret.
The sound of a zip filled the silence of the large, air-conditioned office. Chief Remsen Bello straightened his belt with steady hands, the kind of hands that belonged to a man who had never once been held accountable for anything. Behind him, on the cold, tiled floor, sat Amara, 29 years old, her blouse torn at the shoulder, her wrapper loosened. She held herself together with her arms as tears slid quietly down her face. Chief Remsen turned and looked at her the way one looks at something disposable. "If you tell anyone what happened here today," he said, his voice low and certain, "I will make sure you rot in prison. You know who I am. You know what I can do." He reached into his drawer and threw a thick bundle of cash onto the floor in front of her. It landed with a slap. "That is for your business. You think I give such money to a beautiful woman like you and take nothing in return?" He straightened his tie. "Now get out of my office." Amara looked up at him. For a long moment, her wet eyes held his. Then she stood, left the money where it lay, and walked out. She walked the long road home without wiping her tears. The sun was cruel and indifferent above her. She had gone to Chief Remsen Bello like so many others before her, with hope. For nearly 10 years, the man had been the talk of the city, a wealthy philanthropist known for calling on struggling young people and giving them capital to start their own businesses. He had funded market women, young traders, mechanics, tailors. He had publicly prosecuted men accused of assaulting women. The city trusted him. The city loved him. Amara had believed in him too, until today. She walked home broken, knowing that what had been taken from her could never be returned. Her virginity, her dignity, the future she had quietly imagined for herself. When her parents saw her come through the door looking the way she did, they rushed to her. She told them everything through sobs. The silence that followed was worse than she expected. "Amara," her mother said slowly, "this is Chief Remsen we are talking about." "He has been helping people for 10 years, her father added. "He campaigns against rape. He has sent men to prison for it." "I know what happened to me," Amara whispered. "And the money? You left the money there? After everything?" They did not believe her. They told her to never speak of it again. Amara went to her room and lay on her mat and cried until her body had nothing left. Sleep did not come that night. The next morning, her boyfriend, Tobena, arrived. He was 28, lean and serious-eyed. Amara had barely finished telling him before his jaw tightened. I told you not to go there. I never trusted that man." He stood up. "Amara, I have been asking you for 2 years. 2 years I have loved you and respected your decision. And now this man, this stranger?" He stopped. His voice cracked. Then it hardened again. He picked up his bag and walked toward the door. "Tobena, please!" He kept walking. She called after him until his footsteps faded and there was only the sound of the road outside. The following morning, before the sun was fully up, Amara dressed quietly and left the house. She had made up her mind. The police station near the village was small and dusty. The officer at the front desk looked at her with tired eyes. She told him she wanted to report a rape. He asked who was responsible. When she said the name, Chief Remsen Bello, something shifted in the man's face. Not shock, recognition. He excused himself and stepped outside. Within minutes, Chief Remsen's voice was on the other end of a phone call. He listened. His voice went cold and precise. "Lock her up. Don't let her leave." By the time Amara realized what was happening, the cell door had already closed behind her. She sat on the concrete floor and pressed her palms to her eyes. She had told no one she was coming here, not her parents, not Tobena. Later that afternoon, Chief Remsen himself came to the station. He stood at the cell bars and looked at her. "I warned you. Now you will spend the rest of your life here." Meanwhile, back in the village, Tobena had returned to Amara's family compound, his anger replaced by something steadier and more urgent. He had not stopped thinking about her since he left. She was nowhere. Her parents had not seen her since morning. No one had. Tobena moved through the village methodically, shop by shop, asking. A woman near the market road said she had seen a girl matching that description walking in the direction of the police station. Tobena started walking faster. When he arrived and asked for Amara, the officer at the desk told him she was being held, that she would face court in 5 days for making false allegations against a respected man. Tobena kept his face still. He thanked the officer and left. Outside, he called his aunt Nikirika, Barrister Nikirika Aziz, who practiced law in the state capital. He told him everything. She was silent for a moment. "I am coming tomorrow, but Tobena, we need evidence. Without it, that man will walk and she will not." Barrister Nikirika arrived the next morning, sharp-eyed and unhurried. After listening to Tobena carefully, she laid out a plan. They had 2 days before the court date. A young woman named Ozioma, a trusted friend of Tobena's cousin, agreed to help. She dressed carefully, placed a small camera behind the lens of her oversized fashion glasses, and walked into Chief Remsen Bellow's office posing as someone seeking business funding. The chief was charming at first, then familiar, then forceful. When Ozioma tried to leave and he blocked the door and overpowered her, every moment was captured, every word, every action. Ozioma emerged from that building shaking but intact in her resolve. She handed the glasses to Barrister Nkiruka with trembling hands. "We have him," the barrister said quietly. On the morning of the court date, Amara was brought in looking hollow. She had not eaten properly in days. When she saw the courtroom filling, she expected the worst. Then she saw Tobena. Beside him sat her parents, her mother already pressing a handkerchief to her eyes. Behind him was a woman in a sharp black suit, someone she did not recognize, standing with the ease of someone who had won before. Amara's throat closed. Chief Remsen Bellow arrived with 2 lawyers and the comfortable posture of a man who had already decided the outcome. He glanced at Amara without emotion. The proceedings began. His lawyers were aggressive. They painted Amara as a troubled young woman seeking to extort a generous philanthropist. They spoke of Chief Remsen's decade of community service, his anti-rape campaigns, his spotless public record. Then Barrister Nkiruka rose. She presented the footage quietly, without theatrics. The courtroom watched in silence. The chief's lawyers objected. The chief himself, for the first time, looked uncertain. The judge, a woman who had seen many things in that room, watched the footage twice. She then asked that the phone records between the police officer and Chief Remsen Bellow on the day Amara was unlawfully detained be submitted as additional evidence. They were. After deliberation, the Chief Justice delivered her ruling with the measured gravity the moment deserved. Chief Remsen Bellow was found guilty of rape and abuse of power. He was sentenced to 25 years imprisonment without the option of a fine. 3 officers from the station found complicit in his cover-up, including the one who had made the call, were each sentenced to 7 years imprisonment for conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and unlawful detention. The courtroom erupted. Amara stood slowly, as though she was learning how to again. She turned and found Tobena already moving toward her. When they reached each other, she held on and did not let go for a long time, long enough for both of them to breathe again. "You came back," she said into his shoulder. "I never really left," he told her. Her mother's arms found her next, then her father's, quieter now, heavier with the weight of having doubted her. There were no big speeches, just the kind of silence that holds an apology inside it. Amara pulled back and looked at Tobena's face, the stubborn, steady face that had come back for her even after it walked away. "Thank you," she said. It was not enough, and they both knew it, and it was enough anyway. Barrister Nkiruka straightened her blazer, allowed herself a small smile, and began gathering her files. Outside the courthouse, the sun was warm and unhurried. Amara stood in it for a moment before she walked forward. Some wounds do not close, but they do not have to be the end of the story.